A modern downtown gives way to a lush jungle, sprinkled with exotic bungalows and waterfront vacation homes, nestled between the gentle waves of the ocean and a sun-kissed lagoon. Enjoy a picnic on the beach, plan a secret rendezvous at an island waterfall, or cozy up to a loved one in the shade of a palm tree and watch the sun sink into the sea. What's up guys, Rakowski here, and today we are judging and rating all of the builds in Sunlit Tides. Before we get started, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more Sims 3 content. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Also, head down to my community tab where you can vote on which world we review next. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So here we are flying into Sunlit Tides. The first thing I want to say is the water looks absolutely beautiful. Look at this mountain. Wow, well done EA. What's up guys, welcome to Sunlit Tides. That might be the best intro shot I've ever seen. Usually it goes too fast, it weaves through all these places and lags. This was nice and smooth, just panned up the mountain from the ocean. It looked really nice. And yeah, looking around, the world itself doesn't seem so big. It definitely seems a little bit smaller than Isla Paradiso, but it has about the same number of lots. I think there's like 24 occupied houses in this one. And yeah, looking around, I don't really know what to look for because like beach and island style homes are not really my forte. I live in Canada. I don't really like beach vacations even. I find them very boring. I can't just sit still in the sun. I prefer something like Vegas with lots of buildings and things for me to do. But that doesn't mean we can't critique them because of course some are going to be in classic EA style, I'm sure. But yeah, that's about it. I don't really have much more to say. So let's just jump into our first build, shall we? First up is a moment in time. So my first thought is that it's nice to see some regular plastic siding for a change. We just finished Lunar Lake, so we didn't really get too much of that, but you can definitely tell that this was windowed by EA. Look at this side. They tried to hide with the trees. The front is weirdly off center. This front bit I don't like at all. But what I do like is the garage and like parking space area. I think that's very nice. I like how they cut it out here and just used like a platform to section it off. The backyard is very nice with the pool and everything. But yeah, not really too much to say. It's landscaped nicely, but windowed horribly, so it's a typical EA build. Let's jump inside and see. Okay, good. So the colors are not very Sunset Valley. That's a very pleasant surprise. As you can see, the bathroom is like nice normal colors like white, black, and wood. These living rooms are a little bit cramped. I don't know if they needed two of them. This is kind of a small house. I wouldn't have done that. And although I don't like that base game bookcase, they did use a nice color for it. Nice color for the couches and chairs. The kitchen is kind of cute and squished over here, but as you can see, there's no kitchen sink. Also, the stairs are wicker. That's kind of weird. Okay, let's go upstairs. So upstairs is all right. If we just keep in mind the Sim, so this is Iris Adams and she has two sons. She's recently divorced, so they have a bedroom for everybody. That's kind of nice. The kids' bedrooms are a little smaller. I like the double bathrooms here. Again, like very nice and basic style, nothing too crazy. The bedrooms, I like how they have two different colors and they're both kind of like gender neutral and can be used for like the boys, right? So you have like the blue here, the orange here. That's kind of nice. And nothing too exciting. That's pretty much the end of the build. Usually these take a lot longer because EA houses are usually too big. But coming back outside, it's all right. It's kind of basic. It's kind of like the suburban islandy home, I guess. It kind of makes sense for the Sims. There's a few weird choices inside and the shape is a little bit bizarre now that I come and look at it straight on, but it's all right. It's pretty good for an EA build. I think I'm going to start off with a 7. Okay, so far so good, I guess. One of the windows is backwards. Maybe I should take off a point. No, I'm going to be nice. Sometimes I do that too. But yeah, like again, like the windows are kind of weird and stuff. So I'm not sure what we're going to get in Sunlit Tides, but I guess we'll have to see. Next up is Forever Tropical. Okay, coming into the build, it kind of reminds me of Sims 3 Island Paradise, Sims 4 Island Living. I like the corrugated metal. I think it's a really pretty shade of blue. I don't know how I feel about these like lemony green doors. It's kind of like in between lemon and lime. It doesn't know what it wants to be. I do like the colors of the wood, like for the balconies and the porch and the fencing and everything. The plants and like the landscaping is really nice too, because like it's well done, but it's very basic too. Like it's not overwhelming. And this isn't a mansion or anything, so it's nice to just have like little bits of details sprinkled about. But yeah, even the windowing looks all right. A little bit off center, but nothing too crazy. Okay, let's just jump inside and see what we get. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. I much prefer this wall yellow. This is beautiful, much better than the doors. I kind of like the living room furniture too. Yes, this couch is a little bit of a baby poo green, but it does kind of go with the color scheme. Like it's bright, it's bold, it's got a few good colors. I really like the blue in the kitchen. Now, of course, the only thing wrong with this kitchen is that it has a kitchen sink for some reason. And a really nitpicky thing, the garbage can is like like way over here. So you have to go like all the way around here to get to the garbage can. It doesn't even look like you can get to it. Anyway, that's kind of nitpicky. And oh my God, the bathroom. I was not expecting a green and blue checkered bathroom. Actually, I should be expecting it because it is an EA build. And look at the mirror. They just put the mirror in a baby poo green. I like the blue on the shower though. Okay, and going to the upstairs, this is where all of them sleep. So these are like 3 roommates, and like the one's trying to like get a girlfriend and the other 2 are going to help them or something, but they're not going to be able to bring girls over in this bedroom. This is so cramped. This is even worse than my university experience. Yeah, kind of simple and stuff. Coming back outside, I kind of like the build. I think this is a great build to kind of like plop your own sim into because it's not too big. It's not too overwhelming if you wanted to redecorate it. And it's got a good style. Like it's really going for something. It's going for the blue and green matching, which I don't really like, but this is the closest that they've ever gotten to it. I really liked some of the colors inside. The kitchen cabinets were nice. The couch was nice, but overall, this is just like a few hit and misses, and there's a few EA details that I can't really overlook. That bathroom is too much. I'm gonna give this house a 6. Without the bathroom, I would have given it a 7, and even without the doors too, because like I said, there's some really good choices inside. Just not all of them worked, but I do like when they give it a shot at least. So let's see what we get next. Next up is Harmony Home. Harmony Home, I would have called it Stoplight Central. My goodness, look at this color scheme, like red, yellow, and green. Not really for me. And they're not even good shades of them. I don't mind the red, but like that green's not really inspiring. The yellow is a little bit boring. Again, I really like the landscaping plants that they have access to. Like these are very beautiful and they go really well with the world, but I don't know about the house. But then again, like island houses are sometimes painted all sorts of crazy colors. We saw in Isla Paradiso. Not much to say, it's an EA box house, right? Okay, let's just jump inside. Oh, and they decided to continue the color scheme throughout. Red, yellow, and green everywhere. But see, the funny thing is, inside there's a few better shades. I really like this like reddish pink for the counter here. Unfortunately, all the other counters are baby poo. The couch is all right. The table and chairs, I like how they're all slightly different, but it doesn't really go with the house. I don't really feel the vibe. Bathroom is its own choice too, like this minty toothpaste green toilet seat with this yellow shower, this wicker wall, and this rug too. Like it just changes color into the bedroom, becomes more saturated and not really any more pretty. Yeah, it's a little too all over the place. I was trying to give it a chance. This is definitely like a build that I would try and do as like a starter home, except I would pick better colors. I wouldn't pick red, yellow, and green. I wouldn't pick these shades of them, and I wouldn't like do things like mix match the cabinets, the tables and chairs and everything. Sometimes it's best to break it up by room. Like if you want to do different colors, keep like 1 or 2 colors per room so you don't get overwhelmed. But yeah, coming back outside, it just seems like EA tried to get creative and it didn't really work for me. This is kind of disappointing. I don't really like the colors. I know I complain a lot about EA's color choices, but this is a really good example as to why I do it. The concept isn't there, the colors aren't there, it wasn't really executed well, but I mean, it's a concerted effort and it's not boring and basic, so I have to give it a little credit. I'm gonna give it a 4. A 4, my goodness, we're not off to a great start, but like I said, this is a big world, it's got lots of houses, so there's lots of opportunities for EA to redeem themselves. Let's see if they can do it. Next up is Home Now with the Sand. Some of these names are a little uninspiring, I should mention. Usually EA is really good with like alliteration and puns and stuff, and I haven't really seen too much of that. Like there was Harmony Home, but that's a little bit boring. But yeah, looking around, again, like a beach siding kind of house. I like this style. I think it'll break up a lot of the more colorful things. These kind of remind me of the quote unquote Greek revival ones in Moonlight Falls that were just basically suburban houses. But it's always nice to have something familiar, and like every simmer kind of knows how these work. Okay, so going around the windowing, again, a little bit peculiar, a little bit EA style, but it's an all right shell. The roofing is fine. They could have done the roofing a lot worse. I've seen them do it before. And this house is kind of like right by the beach, so that's kind of a benefit. There's a lot of beach in this area. Like there's like several small islands that are kind of like connected like by peninsulas or whatever. So you're gonna have lots of good lots for stuff like that. I just wanted to mention it. Okay, let's jump inside. Okay, this is kind of an interesting color palette. Not really my style, but I really like how it looks. I'm just gonna turn on the lights. Ooh, it looks a lot better now. Okay, yeah, so this shade of like indigo-y kind of blue, not really my style, but it goes really well with the wood choice and it goes really well with white. And those are the 2 things that they kind of like went for. Okay, so the kitchen actually has a sink that's starting to look a little bit better. The dining room has nothing in it, just like every other EA dining room. But the house is a good size and I like how the stairs are in the middle. The bathroom back here is not very offensive. The bathroom's a little bit out of the way, but you know what can you do? The bedroom's kind of basic. Let's go upstairs. Ooh, I really like this bathroom. Like to have like the wooden as like the backsplash, that's really nice. That's like a nice little change. I think it's better than a lot of the base game tile choices. And the bedrooms, again, each one kind of has like a sprinkle of different colors, but it's not like everywhere. The walls are still white. This one just has green accents. This one has like yellow and purple. That's really nice. And this house is for 3 sisters, so each one of them gets a bed that they can woo woohoo in and they can like meet guys and kind of do that whole storyline. One wants to be a doctor, one wants to be rich, and one wants to like make out with everybody, so you know the drill. But yeah, coming back outside, I definitely want to say that the inside is stronger than the outside, and that's very rare for an EA build. I just think the outside is kind of boring and basic, but the inside is really well colored. I really like the woods, I really like the bedrooms. This kind of reminds me of Aurora Skies, to be honest. But I do think there's room for improvement. They could have windowed it better. They could have gone a little bit more crazy with the outside and made it a little more special. I don't know. I'm gonna give this one a 7. Sunlit Tides is yet to break number 7, but that's okay. I still have some faith. There was a few shells that I was kind of like glancing over the world, getting a better look, and I think we'll be in for a pleasant surprise soon. So let's see what we get next. Next up is I Can Hear the Sea. Okay, this almost looks like a little tiny house. Usually EA does their houses too big, but so far in Sunlit Tides, everything seems to be a reasonable size. Yeah, looking around, it's roofed properly. It's only a letter L, so like it's not too hard to roof or anything, but I like the back patio. I like how there's not too much around it. It's kind of giving me like starter home vibes, right? And they have the sloppy jalopy right in the parking space. I always get excited when I see a sloppy jalopy because once we named a baby sloppy jalopy when I was doing a 100 baby challenge, and we were naming the babies after like the last thing the Sims stole. So the Sims stole a car and we named the baby sloppy jalopy. Anyway, let's jump inside. This is actually beautiful. Well done. Look at this wood. Look at this blue. Look at it with the white. The kitchen is nice. This is really well done. Everything is super cohesive. It's not overcrowded, but there seems to be everything that your Sim will need. There's like a dining space, kitchen, living room. I like when houses have a computer, but in a house this small, like really, like what can you do? And the bathroom is like stark white. That's kind of a nice change. We haven't seen a stark white bathroom in a long time. And the bedroom carries the color scheme through. I like how the walls are a little bit different. Like in here, everything is white, but if you go in here, it's the same wall, but the wood is slightly different, so it's a little bit nice. I mean, short and sweet, but coming back outside, I think this is my favorite house so far. Yes, it's a little bit small and it's a little bit basic, but sometimes you need a small basic house, and if you are doing that, then there's no excuse really. Like you can get your colors right. You only have to use 1 or 2. The roofing is good, the shape is good, the layout is good. I don't know. I'm gonna give this one an 8, but it's really nice, and especially like in The Sims 4, like after that whole like build challenge culture and the starter homes, like this seems to suit really well in a Sims world. But there's some more extravagant surprises waiting behind the corners, so let's see what we get. Next up is I Can Smell the Sea. That's kind of an interesting name too. Like I can smell the sea, I can hear the sea. I get it. It's another one of those like startery kind of homes. I like how she's a girl who wants to be a chess legend instead of like wanting to have 100 boyfriends, so that's a nice change. She also has a sloppy jalopy in the driveway. Again, this shell is like very basic, very simple to roof. They didn't mess it up. The windows, I guess, are all right. And again, like the back porch is very basic, just a little seating area and not a whole lot of landscaping, just enough to make it blend in. Again, not really much else to say, so let's just jump inside and see if they made it harmonious. Okay, not as harmonious as the last house, but still pretty good for an EA house. Unfortunately, they chose green as the main accent color. I kind of prefer the kitchen in this house a little bit better. It just seems a little bit nicer, a little bit more sleek, and I like how they use metal for the fridge and stuff. The living room is all right. I like how the wall is very stark and white, but the colors are like a little bit on the quieter side. Like this is not a loud green or a loud blue. I don't think they go really well together, but since they're not super bright, it doesn't matter as much. The wood colors are really nice. I like the bathroom. It has a bathroom cabinet. I like little details like that in the bathrooms. Sometimes they don't bother with that, but I've been noticing like toilet paper rolls and like little details like that lately. And the master bedroom is, I'm glad they tried to do a different color, but I don't like this orange and blue. They kind of go really well together. I just don't really like the colors. I much prefer the orange on the curtain. It's just like a little bit softer, a little bit more muted, similar to the other colors in the house. But yeah, it's a good layout. Maybe it's a little bit empty at the entryway. They didn't have to use that much space, but then again, the house isn't really that big to begin with. Yeah, coming back outside, it's like a nice simple starter. It's not even really EA styled. It's just a little bit basic. And I know in the Sims 3 worlds, they like to have a few simple basic houses, and I'm glad they didn't really like make it ugly or anything. It's just not as strong as the last one, and it's pretty small. So if you're doing a small house, I do expect a little bit more detail. So for this one, I think I'm gonna give it a 6. It's still all right though, and it's kind of like one of those houses that's kind of better for playing in than for reviewing, because like it's a simple, regular starter house and nothing too offensive. Like it's definitely better than the Sims 4 ones for the most part. Okay, let's see what we get next. Next up is Life on the Lagoon. Ooh, well done. Look at these colors. I know this is not going to be for everybody, but I absolutely love this color palette. I love the corrugated metal with like the pink and the yellow, and I like the deeper pink of the door. I actually wish they used this color a little bit more. Looking around, the landscaping is very eccentric. The windowing, these are blue windows, I think. That's kind of weird, but weird in a good way. Ooh, I like the one pink patio chair, and going around, there's like a garden and stuff. She wants to garden, and she wants to be a creature future robot crossbreeder, which requires gardening to complete. And the house is very eccentric, and looking at Kayla Swift here, she looks eccentric too. I like when Sims look like they have a little bit of a personality, and this build has personality too. Okay, let's jump inside. Oh wow, I was not expecting the colors like this. Okay, this is again one of these things that is not going to be for everybody, but I'm going to try to appreciate it. The first thing I have to get over is the green bathroom, which is EA's favorite room to build. But it's a little bit of a twist on the green bathroom. I don't mind when the tiles are green. It's just when like the tub and the sink and the toilet are green. There's a little bit on the shower, but you know what? I can forgive it. I just wish that green matched the other greens. Okay, going into the living room, this is probably my favorite room. I like these blues and purples and colors together. They don't all work. It's not completely harmonious, but they did a really good job and they were really going for something, right? And you can see the palette kind of bleeds into the bedroom carpet, which is kind of nice. I don't know how I feel about the yellow bed sheet, but I definitely like how they have the details here on the nightstands. This is like a cow plant statue. There's a candle, an alarm clock, not an alarm clock, a lamp. I don't know why I said that. Going into the weird kitchen, again, bold colors, not necessarily for everybody, but they definitely went for a style and for a color palette. There is a bathroom sink in this kitchen too. My goodness. Why does this always happen? I actually prefer the dining set. I really like the pink on the chairs. Okay, let's just jump back outside and digest this. This was a little bit more than I was expecting. But if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I love color and you know I love to reward when they really go for something. And here they actually did a few good choices. I didn't even hate the green bathroom. I liked the living room. A few of the colors didn't really go together on the inside and they had a bathroom sink. But again, they had a really good vision and they really went for it. And I think it suits the sim. It's eccentric and so am I. I'm going to give this house an 8. Well done, EA, bringing back the colors. I was looking forward to some good colors because in Isla Paradiso, there was lots of really bold color choices that I really loved. And when I was looking up architecture in different island kind of nations and whatnot, there was lots more bold colors than what I'm used to. In Canada, we make everything wood or plastic, so this is a little bit of a nice change. Next up is my first vacation home. If this is your first, you might be a Republican. Anyway, let's not worry about that. Actually, the house itself is really nice. If we ignore like the capitalistic idea of this being your first ever vacation home, this is very pretty. This is a really good endgame house. Like, look at this. This is really nice wooden details. I like the platforms. I like the balconies. The half walls are perfect. And it looks really dynamic, but it's not super complicated. They didn't have to use like lots of platforms in between. They were just really wise with their choices of balconies, the windows. I definitely think the front looks like the front of a beach mansion and the back looks like the back of a beach mansion. So they were going for the full 360 on this one as well. I love the deck. I love the pool. I love the shape. I hate that I love it. Oh my God. Okay, let's jump inside. The inside is a little bit dull and uninspiring from what I can see, but that's maybe a good thing. This is a modern mansion, right? So it's definitely going to be a little bit more minimalistic and chic. Ooh, in here we have like a little sauna area and like a bathtub. I love this. I love putting sauna rooms in my Sims 4 houses ever since I got Spa Day. Another stark white bathroom. I love it. Let's go into the kitchen. The kitchen with its kitchen sink. Who would have thought? Oh my goodness. But yeah, a little bit boring and uninspiring. The backsplash would have been a really nice opportunity to just throw in a splash of color. I don't think these green bar stools are doing it for me. Another normal bathroom. This bathtub is right in front of a window that is facing right to the stairs, so I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, the rest looks pretty much the same. Let's go upstairs. I like in modern mansions when they like do like big overhangs and like cut out pieces of the floor here because it saves you a lot of space. It saves you another room to decorate, one that you don't necessarily need or want, and it just looks out of place anyway, so well done with that. I like the kids' bedrooms. I don't like how the kids' ensuite bathroom is the only bathroom that doesn't have a bathtub so far. That's kind of like where you would want a bathtub if you had like a baby and kid, right? I don't know, like when I was a kid, I had baths, and when I was a teen, I had showers. That's just kind of what I'm going off of. Going into the master bedroom, why did they pick green? I don't think this green works with the house even. Blue would have been a nice change, but it's EA, so what can you do? And the master bath, again, boring, basic, a little bit too big, and again, like windows right where people are going to be standing. Now, I like when they do bathtubs that are not right against a wall, but not like this in the middle of the floor. It doesn't really look right. Usually I like it up on like a platform or something. Like if you're going to go for a central bathtub, make it a focal point. Don't just put it in the middle. But yeah, coming back outside, this is definitely the strongest architecture that we've seen so far. It's the first kind of modern mansion that we've seen as well, so it's kind of setting the bar, and it's setting the bar really high. Again, doing that EA thing where they can pull off the shell and then the inside gets a little bit boring. But it does suit the vibe. It's chic, it's modern, it's minimalist. I wouldn't have picked those colors for the inside. I would have done a few things a little bit different, but it is a strong house, and it's probably the strongest house that we've seen as well. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. It's not quite a 9, but it does remind me of a few other worlds. I think it reminds me of like a house from Lucky Palms, and maybe a house or two from Isla Paradiso as well. They seem kind of similar, just without the houseboats. But there's still more eccentric things waiting behind the palm palm trees, so let's keep going. Next up is My Little Piece of Paradise. Another suburban plastic siding house. Okay, so the first thing I notice is that the foundation is like 2 foundations high, and that's fine, except for the fact that it's all in siding, so it just looks kind of like big and top heavy. And the hipped roofs, I would have used one gabled roof to give it a little bit more of a dynamic feel. The back porch is kind of nice. It's a big space. I like having a little bit of room outside for my Sims to do stuff. Unfortunately, there's nothing to do in there. There's the garden. The garden is fine. There hasn't been too many gardens yet, and usually EA overdoes it with that, and I don't really mention it, but I'm glad that there's only been a couple so far. Yeah, looking around, landscaping is kind of basic and boring. Again, I just don't like the double foundation with the siding. I would have put something else underneath. But yeah, from the roof, it looks really kind of boxy, so let's just jump inside and see. Okay, it's not super offensive. Coming in, it kind of looks really homey, like it's a little bit softer. I like the like very beige carpet. I like the chairs and everything. I like how there's a video game console here. What I don't like is when TVs like this are just in the middle of the room, because this kind of TV would have to be against a wall because it would be plugged into things. This is not a wireless system. Going into the kitchen, ooh, a kitchen sink. That's a nice change. And I kind of like when they half wall kitchens and dining rooms. It's a great option for like a smaller, more contemporary house when you don't want a completely open floor plan. Sometimes open floor plans in The Sims, they all end up looking the same. It's like kitchen, living, dining, all on this wooden floor. From a distance, I can see both bathrooms are stark white, and of course there's no shower. I haven't mentioned this yet either, but this world is guilty of the same thing. Some of the houses do not have showers, and it kind of bothers me. But going into the bedroom here, this is very beautiful. I love both of these colors. I love them together. It's giving me that Roaring Heights Miami Art Deco vibe. Not the furniture, but the colors. This bedroom looks like it came straight out of Sunset Valley. I don't think it belongs in the house either. It looks like from a completely different build. But the master bedroom is kind of nice. I really like the comforter. I like how it's soft and gray. The wicker furniture is all right. I complained about wicker before, but that was in Lunar Lakes where they were in the middle of space. Here they're in like an island utopia, so I'll have some wicker furniture. That's fine. But yeah, coming back outside, this house is for 5 Sims, and it's a little bit small for 5 Sims, but they definitely fit everything that they needed. The outside is still a little bit clunky. The inside, I didn't love any of the choices that they made. I think it was a good concept. I just don't think they pulled it off fully. It reads as a contemporary house though. I'll give it a little bit of credit. On the inside, it definitely looks like kind of what they were going for, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to tell with the shell. I'm gonna give this one a 5. 5 is pretty generous. I don't like houses like this. This house reminds me of like those Twin Brick houses or those Sunset Valley houses where like you just see the outside and go, oh, great, here we go. But 1 or 2 blunders isn't gonna sour me on a whole world. So let's see what we get next. Next up is Ocean Views. For a little green EA house, it's actually very cute. Usually I don't like this kind of porch foundation because you can't change it and it's always this cross-hatched wood, but it really works well for the house. I like it with the roof and the windows and everything. And it's got a bit of a color to it, and the green is a little bit muted, so they go really nicely together. I actually really like the landscaping. Just the back windows are a little bit weird, but you know what? For an EA house, it's windowed pretty well, I'd say. They didn't use too many, which is a nice change. And of course, it's called Ocean View, and you get like the perfect view of the ocean. My goodness, look at this. If you're living in a world like this, you may as well live on the beach, so that way you can do all the activities that are specific to the water, right? I don't know. Okay, let's jump inside. Ooh, well done. Look at this color palette. I love this. Look at this teal fridge. I'm living for this. They use like blue and teals together and kind of mix it with this yellowy wood. I would normally not like a wood like this, but paired with the wall and stuff, it kind of weirdly works. And the tiny little splashes of red on the bed and the mirror. You remember that stoplight house that was like red, yellow, and green? This is the right way to use those colors kind of all together. It doesn't read as Spotlight. It just reads as like eccentric and colorful and fun. I don't like when my adult Sims only have a single bed, so I would probably switch it for a double bed, but other than that, I really like it. And the bathroom you can only get to through the bedroom, which is fine for a really small house, I guess. Because in a bachelor apartment, you wouldn't have your bed separate anyway, and this is kind of like giving me that vibe. It's very small and compact, but very like efficient. It doesn't seem like it'd be efficient for more than one Sim though. It's a little bit cramped. I would switch the dining table for a smaller one too, but you know what? Overall, I'm very impressed. Those are not my favorite colors, but they did a really good job utilizing them. They went really well together, which was something I wasn't really expecting. And usually if EA just gives me like a lazy little greenhouse, I'm gonna be mad. But this one was pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I don't think it's quite an 8. I think it's too small and simple for that. And I do like to reward some creativity, but for a small house to get like a 10, it has to have a really good concept. This was just colorful and fun, which I'm not disappointed with. So let's keep going. Next up is Retreat from the Sun. This house seems more my style, not really because of how it looks, but because of its name. If you can't tell by my complexion, I don't really get out of the house much. So like just in terms of safety, it would be nice to have like a normal house that would shelter me from the sun's rays every once in a while. But looking around, it definitely looks a little bit EA style. The front is is balanced, which is a nice change. It's a little bit flat and boring though. And then the back has just a bunch of windows, of course, and the side has one that's slightly off center. So, you know, classic. The back is very pretty. I just don't think the backyard is big enough for a pool. I don't like when they put like little miniature pools when they don't have space for a proper one. Like if the lot was a little bit longer and you could stretch it out, that would be fine. But this is a little bit small to like, you know, for swimming, like how are you gonna swim? I usually like doing laps back and forth or like swimming in circles in the ocean. Okay, whatever, let's jump inside. So I must say, I really like the color palette inside. The only thing I don't really like is the floor. I think the floor kind of spoils it. They could have done a little bit better. Even just putting some tiles in the kitchen would break up the wood a little bit. I would have preferred it. Other than the fridge and the stove being next to each other as usual, they actually use a kitchen sink, they use a microwave, and now I see why the window is off center, but if they just move the fridge over one tile, then they could have put the window properly. The living room is fine, if not a little bit basic. I don't mind a little end table or coffee table with a few decorations. The bathroom is kind of pretty, very pretty for having a green tile, my goodness. But of course, no shower. I like the pink and the yellow accents. They use it for the towels and for the picture frames. That's a nice little touch. I don't think these cabinets had to be teal. I like teal, but you know, these could have just been white. Oh, and going upstairs, it's lofted. That's kind of nice too. I like when they cut off parts of the house that you don't really need. This house is a little bit too big for these two people. So just eliminating this gets rid of an extra chunky room. Now, unfortunately, they don't have very many private sleeping spaces. So they both have to sleep here, right? Like over the overhang. So like no privacy at all. It's kind of that white virgin-y style. I like it. I like the comforter here and lots of nice colors on the flower bedspread. I don't know about the yellowish sheets, but you know, whatever. Okay, coming back outside, the inside was better than I expected, but like the shell is very lackluster and uninspiring. I don't think it really reads island either. It just looks like something that they pulled out of Sunset Valley or Riverview and just stuck in Sunlit Tides, and that's not necessarily a good thing. But they didn't do too many of my pet peeves, like the windows are balanced for the most part, the inside colors are fine. I don't know. I'm gonna give this one a 6. I almost gave it a 5. Maybe I'm feeling generous, maybe Sunlit Tides is just prettier. And again, if you think back to something like Twinbrook, they're definitely doing a better job in this world. And we're just about at the halfway point, so one more house to go. Let's see what we get. And last but not least is Rhapsody. You know what? For a beach McMansion, this is looking pretty good. I kind of like it from the front. Remember I was complaining about a double high foundation? They use it here, but it's on a bigger house and they colored it differently, so I do like it. This is an example of what I meant. It's got maybe a few too many porches and balconies. They could have dialed it in a bit, but again, we are on the beach, and if you think about it, this kind of looks like a house that somebody from America who bought land on an island would build. Very McMansion style and lots of like outdoor space, and like if you moved all the way to Sunlit Tides, you may as well sit outside. The pool is kind of interesting. I don't love it as like a slash fountain here. It's a little bit weird shaped and whatnot, but I can see they were trying for something. They had an idea. It just didn't quite work out. There's lots of stuff for the kids to do that's kind of nice. What I would have really liked is a fence around the property. When I have mansion properties, I like to fence it in just to give a little bit more privacy. But they did a gazebo back here, which is kind of nice too. And they have bars and everything, so you can actually kind of have fun out here and a barbecue. Okay, so far so good. I mean, it's pretty good so far. I'm scared for the inside. What's it gonna look like? Oh, good. It's not awful. There's a few weird choices, but I'm just trying to like rationalize it in my head. I kind of want a good score here. Oh, the bookcase I don't like. I love this orange rug though. Well, I don't really love the rug, but I love the orange that they chose for it. Stripes are not usually my thing. Going into this Victorian dining room, at least they put some plants for decoration. And it looks a little bit old fashioned, but again, if this is like old money that moved to Sunlit Tides, I could definitely see this. The kitchen is actually beautiful. It's probably the best kitchen that we've seen so far. I usually don't like these cabinets, but they use them really well. They kind of match this kitchen. I like how everything is spread out. There's lots of counter space. There's actually like a microwave and a food processor, things for you to use. What I don't like is that this looks like fireplace tools, but they just like put it up here on the counter. That's weird. And I have noticed that there's lots of seating for two. Like there's 2 at the dining table here in the kitchen. There's 2 at the bars and like 2 outside, but they have a child. So like, you know, maybe they should start thinking about that. In here, we have another sauna. That's kind of nice for like a rich house. I really like the bathtub being up on a platform, something else I mentioned earlier too. And I like the little details of the perfume on the sink. Now, saving the worst for last, the ugly living room with the blue and orange that I don't really like together. I like the orange. If they turned the blue into a white, I think this room would be fine. Oh, and if they removed the foosball table. Y'all know how much I love foosball. Okay, let's jump upstairs. Okay, upstairs is a little bit, this kind of reminds me of the land grab mansion in Sunset Valley, which is not really a good thing, just a more suburban style of it. I think this landing could be a little bit bigger. If this back room wasn't really sectioned off, because it's just another living room, they could have made like a grand landing for the house, or even put the balcony out to here. I don't know. The kids' bedroom is way too big. I hate when EA does this. They do a massive kids' bedroom, and quite frankly, you wouldn't have a platform like this in the kids' bedroom, like, because kids hit their head, like, they're so good at it. Turn your back for 1 second and they're gonna slip down that thing. Okay, going in here to the master bedroom, kind of ugly Sunset Valley kind of style. But as I'm like zooming out, I really like the house itself. I don't like most of the colors and textures and stuff, but I like the house. If the kids' room was a little bit smaller and they kind of like fixed the landing and stuff, oh, now that I'm saying it, I want to like it. I like this house, except if they change these 12 things. So maybe it's not as good as I thought. But this shell is really strong. I like the outside. It really suits the vibe. I could totally see this in a place like Sunlit Tides. Just the inside, they fell back into their old Sunset Valley, Riverview, Twin Brook kind of styles. The colors, the textures, they're just really not for me. But good architecture. Again, you kind of keep me in a weird position. This one was a little bit more ambitious. I'm going to give it a little more slack. Let's give this one an 8. You're lucky you got an 8 with those colors, but again, I really like the house and it suits the vibe. And it's giving me a little bit of a hope because I see a lot of big houses that we didn't get to yet and we'll get to next episode, and they look like kind of similar style to this, so hopefully we get something better next time. Well, that does it for our first episode of Sunlit Tides. What did you guys think? I was actually pretty impressed. I wasn't really expecting too much. One thing I do want to note is that a lot of the houses were on the smaller side. Maybe we're gonna get some bigger ones next episode, but for now it's a little bit more on like the starter style, which is fine and kind of like a nice refreshing change. Usually EA does houses too big, so it's nice to have something a little bit smaller. But yeah, at the beginning I mentioned that this world was not very big, and I was mistaken. As I was looking for the houses, I realized that there's several of these island and peninsula things. One thing I do like that's not in Isla Paradiso is that I think you can get to every lot here without entering water, so you can just drive. In Isla Paradiso, you got to take like water taxis or your houseboat and stuff, and that just contributes to a few lag problems sometimes. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe for some more Sims content. Okay, we're halfway through. I'm really looking forward to next episode. There's a few colorful things and a few shapes I'm looking at that I'm really excited to see. But let me know what you think of Sunlit Tides, and don't forget to go to my community tab where you can vote on which world we review next. Boom.